James 4:2 says, "You desire and do not have, you murder and are jealous and are unable to obtain, you strive and fight," and then he says, "and you do not possess because you do not ask." King James says, "You have not because you ask not." Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day 4 of Pinchas. And we are today in Numbers, or Bamidbar 27, verse 1. Then came the daughters of Zelophehad, son of Hepher, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, from the clans of Manasseh, son of Joseph, and these are the names of his daughters: Machlah, Noah, Haglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. And they stood before Moshe and before Eleazar the priest and before the leaders and all the congregation by the doorway of the tent of appointment, saying, "Our father died in the wilderness, yet he was not in the company of those who were met together against Yahweh in company with Korah, but he died in his own sin, and he had no sons. Why should the name of our father be removed from among his clan because he had no son? Give us a possession among the brothers of our father." So there is an inheritance question that has arisen, and it's something evidently that Moshe and Eleazar had not considered. And that is that when the tribal allotments were being determined, that it was done so through the patriarchal lineage, a father, the son, the grandson, etc. And so, whereas the family heads are considered to be the fathers, the father now having died and not having a son, the inheritance doesn't have anyone to fall to except for 5 daughters. They could have sat by and said, "Oh, well, woe is us. And I guess we'll just have to find somebody to take us as a bride and hope for the best." Or maybe they would have thought, nobody will want us because we have nothing to inherit and nothing to offer a potential husband. So they realized nothing's going to change by doing nothing. Let me say that again. Nothing changes by doing nothing. You have to find out what the prescribed action might be required of us. They went to Moshe, shared with him their dilemma, and said, "We have no brother to inherit for us. What about us? Does our father's name just get scrubbed off the list of the men of Israel and the allotments that are to be determined? What about us?" Zelophehad is a 2-part name. A first part, Zelof, meaning wound, and then Echad, which means one. So it's a one wound or single wound, or catch this, Gesenius's Hebrew Chaldee Lexicon. Makes you intelligent sounding just mentioning the title of such a book. Gesenius's Hebrew Chaldee Lexicon says fracture or first rupture, that is firstborn. So Zelophehad evidently was the eldest son of his family. These daughters then are from a firstborn father, one who would have been dedicated to the Most High. It's also interesting that before the advent of the Levitical priesthood, he would have served as a priestly figure in his family. And so from this esteemed position, they say he died in his own sins. Some rabbis even say he was the man that was gathering sticks on Shabbat and it ended up being stoned. Now, how they make that correlation, I don't know. But they go to Moshe, and 2 things stand out to us in this response. Number 1, Moshe, it says in verse number 5, then brought their case before Yahweh. It's as much as him saying, "Y'all wait right here, I'll be back." goes to Yah and says, what about this case? What do we do? To me, it's just awesome that he has this extreme confidence. This is a man who's gone from, please send someone else. I don't speak well in Hebrew. I'm not the man for the job. And I told you not to send me. Everything's going wrong. Remember those days early on, prior to the Exodus. To now he is saying, wait here, let me go ask, and I'll bring you an answer. The confidence in his relationship with Yah is outstanding at this point. But then it also helps us to understand that it says in verse 6, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, the daughters of Zelophehad speak what is right. You shall certainly give them a possession of inheritance among their father's brothers, and cause the inheritance of their fathers to pass to them. Why wasn't this detail given earlier? Why was this situation necessary to be brought before Moshe before he would go and ask the question in prayer and then get this answer? Why didn't Yah just simply say, and by the way, for those who have no one to inherit, this is the stipulations and the right course of action? It serves us notice then that if we don't ask, we don't find out. I'll share this. A couple of years ago, I was playing golf with some friends that included my brother-in-law, Larry. And a certain move I made on the golf course took advantage of an opportunity. And he looked at me and said, I didn't know you could do that. And I humorously responded, if you want the benefits, you got to ask for them. And that's been a joke between us ever since. Here, indeed, if you want the benefits, you need to ask. If you need an answer, you need to ask. How much are we unaware of? How much is flying by us because we haven't considered the questions to ask in prayer? And let me encourage you, don't be afraid to ask questions of our Father. Don't be afraid to wait before Him, or don't be intimidated, and don't be bored for certain before Him waiting for an answer. If we ask and keep on asking, we will receive an answer. And so it's important for us to pursue Him for understanding in prayer. Secondly, I think it's important for us to understand here that Yah respects boundaries. He wasn't going to say, well, it really doesn't matter where these daughters married. As long as they marry in Israel, they can be absorbed into any tribe. No, he says that they can receive an inheritance. However, their inheritance must remain within the tribal allotment of Manasseh. Now, Manasseh's tribal allotment was the largest of all the tribes. In fact, he had two sections, one on either side of the Jordan River. Yah says they have to marry within their own tribe. It tells me that Yah is not about moving boundary markers just because of our inconvenience or because of our preferences. Yah's boundaries are firm, they are decreed, they are declared, and they're unmovable. So he has said in his word, I am not a man that I should change my mind. Therefore, when Yah puts a boundary around anything, his word is always to remain the same. His Shabbat, it's unchangeable. And so when someone says, well, they changed it, who are they? And who gave them the authority to change whatever it was that Yah has already put in place? The Shabbat is unchangeable. That boundary has not been moved. Well, we can eat whatever we want. No, that boundary has been decreed in Leviticus 23. It's unmovable. It doesn't change. Rabbi Shaul, the Apostle Paul, or the disciples, or even Yeshua himself does not have the right or the authority to change the word. If Yeshua changed the word, he's not the Messiah. But hint, he is the Messiah because he didn't change the word. So number one, don't be afraid to go to Yah in prayer and ask what you would of him. And number two, respect his boundaries because they are firmly in place. And I hope you are firmly in place here again tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Until then, shalom.